Hey guys, I'm Brandon, and welcome to the Pod of Repair. This is my co-host Dean. Dean, say hello.
Dean, hey.
And this month is Feel Good February. Today is Valentine's Day, so we are going to be talking about confidence. So, if you missed the last podcast, which will be available on our YouTube channel, it was on body image, specifying in things like diet and exercise. This week, we're going to be focusing on confidence. It could be confidence in yourself to talk to someone, confidence in your ability to do something. It could be anything. I would say, as a person, that I'm quite a confident person. I'm currently sitting talking into a microphone on Valentine's Day, so that tells you a lot what you need to know about me. Dean, any input on this?
I mean, confidence, I'm confident in limited ways, but I would say I am an ambivert, meaning like I'm fine on my own or I'm good with people, depending on certain people, the energy I feed off.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, confidence wise, it fluctuates, but it does in everything in life.
yeah. I think that's pretty fair. I think it's quite unfair in some cases to say that oh, I'm confident because I can do this, or I'm confident because I can do that, because I would say I'm confident in certain things. Public speaking, I have no problem with public speaking. I will go and I will sit and I will talk to anyone that I need to talk to about things. However, I wouldn't necessarily be confident to do like heart surgery, for example.
Yeah,
But I think the important thing that I remember not even 3 years ago, I would have been very uncomfortable talking about certain things. I would have been really uncomfortable talking to people about certain things. I think as a person, I've grown a lot in the past 3 years. Where I'm now, I don't have problems with talking to strangers about issues that I would have, balked at talking about years ago.
yeah,
And I think that's the important thing. I think as a person, I've grown in terms of confidence, where I no longer fidget when I'm talking. I'll look at you in the eye and I'll tell you with confidence, what I think about you. I'm quite
yeah,
blunt, as you're very well aware, Dean. And
yeah,
I think being blunt and not being very confident are two things that don't go well together. Because when you have an opinion about something and you are strong of that opinion, and you know that your opinion is, not being taken seriously, and you don't have the confidence to talk about that, that's a big problem, because that's going to cause other effects for you down the line. It's going to make you unhappy. And I think, a lack of confidence can lead to other issues as well. But
oh, 100%.
I have a couple of I have a couple of tips of advice that worked for me in terms of confidence whenever I had none. So, for anyone who is listening to this podcast, I know Dean because me and Dean work together in a bar. For the
Yep.
interest of mine and Dean's own personal privacy, I won't be telling you the name of this bar, but we'll call it, Brandon's Bar, just for the inside of this podcast. When I started working at Brandon's Bar, I started off collecting glasses, so didn't really have any. I didn't have any standing in the bar. My job was to collect glasses. I occasionally took orders for customers. I was basically a waiter, but I was the bar version of a waiter. This is commonly known in bar as like floor staff, or as like drinks runners, or it will have a term similar to that.
Yeah.
I was quite embarrassed talking about certain, like, there's a shot on our menu called a deep throat, which is Sambuca and Bailey's, and that shot actually made me a bit uncomfortable to be asked for. I won't lie, at the time, because I was just quite shy and I was quite introverted, and people knew this. It's very hard to not show you're a bit squeamish about things, especially if you don't know how to act. And at the stage, this was my first proper job. But I would say the first step for me that allowed me to be more confident is I actually faked being confident about things. And this might sound a bit, oh, well, if I knew how to be confident, I could fake being confident. But it's actually a bit different, because confidence to me isn't your belief in yourself, because obviously that's the general term. Confidence is your belief in yourself to do something, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yep.
I think that's a bit of a misnomer, because would I be confident to do a heart surgery right now? No, I have no training in heart surgery, and I think that there's a bit stupid. But there are people who are training to be heart surgeons, and eventually, if you're training to be a heart surgeon, you are going to have to do surgery on a real life heart. Would you say that they're confident in doing it for the first time? No. But they do like certain routines, certain rituals to get themselves ready to do it for the first time. Everyone starts somewhere. A journey of a
Yep.
thousand steps starts with the first step and all that, and
Yep.
no one starts at anything being a master of it. You may have an innate ability or an innate skill. People in your family might have been doing it for centuries, and you just have an urge or an inkling of what to do,
Yeah.
or you work for it. That's the two ways that you're going to get good at something. You either have some skill and you can kind of coast by on that natural skill, or you have hard work.
Yeah.
I
Talent versus training.
My whole thing whenever I started working in a bar was fake it until you make it. So instead of going into a work a bag of nerves because I didn't know what to expect, I completely cleared my mind. Sorry about that. I completely cleared my mind, and I went. I just did my job. I didn't think about the job I had. I just not get into the zone, because getting into the zone doesn't sound right for bar work. But I kind of made sure that I didn't think about it as much. I put it to the back of my mind. I thought about things that made me quite chilled and relaxed and made me happy. I maybe spent 20 minutes before work listening to music that relaxed me, which in my case is Metallica and Megadeth, which is quite ironic, which is
Nice.
normally not relaxing music for people, but I'm listening to like screaming and heavy drums and electric guitar and going, this is soothing. But everyone has a way of getting into the zone. Everyone has a way of relaxing. Find that place that makes you happy, that makes you relaxed, and get into it before you do something that you're a bit nervous about or that you don't have the confidence to necessarily do.
I
This could be
absolutely concur.
this could be anything. If you have to make a speech in front of your entire class in whatever class you do this beforehand. I'm not saying that you're going to necessarily ace it, but you're going to do a lot better, because if you're not nervous going into it and you do appear more confident, you will be more confident. People aren't going to make comments about your confidence. And also, something that goes along with confidence is I very recently learned about an effect. I think it's called the spotlight effect.
Okay.
Basically, us as individuals believe that we are the center of the universe. It's not an egotistical thing. It's how our brain works.
Yeah.
We naturally believe that we are the center of the universe, which is obviously incorrect. But because of this here, we have this nagging that tells us that whenever we make a mistake, that everyone's watching and that everyone
Yeah.
is there waiting to ridicule us.
That's that anxiety kicking in.
Yes, and that the truth is that if you miss a word or you say something wrong in a speech, no one's gonna go, "Oh my god, dude's just messed up in a speech." They're gonna listen to your speech and go, "That's a very good speech." Now, obviously, if you go in and you speak absolute gibberish for 30 minutes, they are gonna take the piss a bit. But
Trump.
but most of the time, no one cares. Well, see, the thing is that Trump actually did have a spotlight because he was the president of the United States. But I think for the everyday, average Joe, you don't have anything to worry about. If you trip, no one's looking at you pointing fingers and laughing. People will be
Yeah.
more likely to help you in a situation than they are to ridicule you. But again, that comes down to confidence, because people do get bad nerves over things like this. You're like, oh, what if I do this? People suddenly start laughing at me.
Yeah.
No matter what you say and whatever you need to, or whatever what you do, people, the entire human race isn't going to point and laugh at you. Unless you're a comedian and that's what you're going for, in which case, here, you're going to do great.
I could do a sitcom my entire life.
Yeah, exactly. We have talked about this in great detail, actually, about you doing a sitcom based on your life.
Could it'll be so successful.
But another thing when it comes to confidence is it is okay to not be confident about things,
Yeah.
because, as I've said, you are able to be a beginner at something. No one expects you to be able to recite, the Quran in French when you start learning French. And I use the Quran as just a basic example there. No one expects you to be able to name every single character that ever speaks a line in Harry Potter because you've said you have an interest in Harry Potter. because that's just unrealistic.
That's gatekeeping.
That is gatekeeping. But in terms of confidence, it's very easy for us to get wrapped up in ourselves and to bring ourselves down, let our minds speak up, and just overthink things. Again, this goes a bit into anxiety, which will be covered in a later podcast. But I think there's a couple of basic steps that everyone can follow to get their confidence levels up and to just ultimately feel more confident as a whole. So I think step one, as I've said, is fake it until you make it. Find that special place that you can go to where you're relaxed and stay there. Don't, well, hang on. I will put a proviso in. If you're trying to get more confident at doing something quite dangerous, like you're holding a gun or you're using something that could seriously hurt you or others,
Sure, stop, man.
maybe not. But for those, I have a separate set of advice, which that will be technically step 4, but we'll get to that. Step 2 is that no matter what happens, keep at it. You are allowed to make mistakes in life. I actually respect people a lot more who make mistakes and things and get over those mistakes. Who they get knocked down and they get right back up again. It doesn't
Gone.
matter if you get knocked down 100 times, as long as you get up 101 times. Always get back up after making a mistake and own it. It's okay to make mistakes. No one's perfect. I mean, for crying out loud, I drink too much and I'm very loud and I swear a lot. It's okay to have, flaws.
Is that not called being Irish?
You just derailed me there. And, just because you have messed up doesn't mean that you're always going to mess up in the future. People like Einstein, Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, just all big names who obviously spread through time, who have done incredible things, and they've made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, to quote Hannah Montana. And that's okay, as long as you learn from them. If you make the same mistake 1,000 times, you're not learning from it. That is the definition of stupidity. But if you make 1,000 mistakes and you're trying your best to get over them, and you can show improvement, that's a win in my book.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you remember the Spider-Verse film, somebody says in it, the hero isn't the person who always fights back, it's the person who always gets back up.
Yes, I think
Something along those lines.
I think that's a Stan Lee quote. Which, if I'm right on that, I will do a bit of research in this, and I will put up on the screen if that is indeed a quote from Stanley. If it isn't, I will quote the source of it. But
yeah,
it's a very good quote because it's true. People like to think that to be a hero, you have to run into a burning building and save a child, or you have to stop the orphanage being blown up. But you can be a hero in your own right by standing up for what's wrong, and always standing up for what's wrong, getting back up when you're knocked down. That's how you be a hero. That's how you improve yourself as a person. That's how you get more confident. And thirdly, and this is the thing that I think is most key when it comes to confidence. As much as you want to listen to other people, the only person whose opinion matters in your life is yours. If you want to do something and you're not confident in doing it, do it anyway. Because, end of the day, no one has the right to tell you what you can and can't do with your life. It's your life. Live it your way. That's the important part that I want you to take away from this, because I'm in my 20s. I'm Irish. I live in England. Yeah, thank you. It's not how many times you get knocked down that counts, how many times you get back up. George A. Custer, thank you very much to our hidden source.
Fantastic.
And it's hard. It's hard on occasion. You get knocked down, and it is hard. It's negative if you have any other mental health issues like anxiety or depression, like we've mentioned. It is hard to get that motivation, to have the confidence to stand up, which is about confidence. You can have confidence in not being confident, and that also is a negative feedback loop. But get up, fight back. It's all going to be all right. And I did say there was 3 steps, but Dean actually did bring up a very valid point, and this is the technical 4th point. If you're doing something that I would say is quite dangerous, like say for example driving, say you're not confident in driving, Or say, for example, that you are an avid shooter, that you shoot like clay pigeons, or you go to the gun range and you shoot targets, and you're not confident in your ability to do so. If you're handling dangerous machinery, heavy machinery, or dangerous objects, for the love of God, don't lose focus when doing it because you will hurt yourself and others. But
Yeah.
keep at it. If you don't have confidence in your ability to drive, don't necessarily go out in the motorway, but go and have a drive. Go and have a juke around the car park. Go have a drive on a smaller part of the town or the city or wherever you are that isn't as busy, where you can just practice driving until you get more confident in doing it. Until you're more confident in going on the motorways or going around roundabouts or parking. Because I know people who have been driving for 5 years and they still can't park properly, and they still haven't taken the effort to learn how to park properly. I have friends that don't indicate properly, and it winds me up. Something shocking. But
How did I pass?
because a lot of people learn how to do it for the test and then never look at it ever again. But at the same
Ah,
time,
yes.
if you're nervous with your ability to drive, do those things and you'll get more confident. If you're not confident in your ability to shoot a target, practice. Practice makes perfect, and the more you practice at it, the better you're going to get. No one is going to be perfect. It's something that they do for the first time, no matter what they say. And
Yeah.
I think on that, I have spoken an awful lot about confidence, and I would say I'm quite a confident person. I'm going to hand it over to you now, Dean, and I want your opinions on what I've said, because obviously, as I've said, I'm quite confident. You don't have as high of a confidence level as I do. So I want your opinion on this as well.
Well, as I said before, confidence fluctuates, especially who I'm with, which also brings me to a point where I would say, whereas you also did say the only person whose opinion matters is you, which I do agree with, but also I would say surround yourself with people that do believe in what you can do. And I don't mean yes men. Never get yes men, but you want to get people that know you well enough that they know your abilities and what you can achieve, but they don't tell you, they don't lie to you about what you can do. They do ground you. So that's 100% a good reason to have a group of people that are a big support network.
I
Because it's like a tightrope. You don't start on the high tightrope without a net.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with that. It's actually a very good point as well. Dean is right. There is people in your life that will be yes men that tell you, yes, this is great, no matter what you say. And that's not very good. You need some criticism, I think, to grow. I think as
Yeah,
a species, we've always done that because, as I've said, you're not always right. It's okay to be wrong on occasion, as long as
yeah,
you learn from your mistakes. And I think what's so good about my friends, I've made a lot of friends from work, from school, from uni, and what I love is that I know my friends who will tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear.
yeah. And it can
And
be hard to hear too.
it can be hard to hear. If someone tell I got pulled aside at one stage in mine and your workplace, and I was told I was being a dick by people who I regarded as quite close friends at the stage. They told me I was acting like a wanker, and I
Yeah,
didn't go. You're wrong. You have to be wrong. I would never act like a wanker. I was like, okay, how like in what ways have I been a wanker, and how can I fix this in your eyes? Because that's constructive. That's not
yeah,
something that has been made up as a way to hurt me. That was something that they were telling me as friends that I needed to get over.
yeah.
There's
You can
what,
grow from that.
yeah, there's one of my friends from uni that we both know, and I'm not mentioning names, but we've both played games with her, and she's one of those people that she tells you how it is. She's not gonna lie to you. She's not gonna mince her words, but she's not going to. She's not gonna hurt your feelings for no reason.
Yeah,
Like, she will go out of her way on occasion to be a bit sarcastic, which I find that to be quite charming because I quite like people who are sarcastic. It's my sense of humor, and on occasion, we all go through certain parts of life where we like having people to tell us quite positive things about ourselves because us as humans love the attention.
oh yeah, we love the flattery.
We love adoration,
Yeah,
but
but don't ever let it go to your head. Is the
yeah,
other part of it.
if you get a bit egotistical, if all you get is adoration, which is again like you said with yes men. If you're only surrounding yourself with yes men, then you're only going to hear what you want to hear. Being
And then
told
like
what you
an
need to hear is a lot
yeah,
more important than being told what you want to hear.
yeah,
Because if you're acting like a douchebag, you deserve to be told that you're acting like a douchebag.
yeah.
Well, if you want to improve yourself as a person, that is anyway.
True.
Like I always ask my friends when I go through with a joke, like was it a bit too far? I have made jokes in certain instances where I went too far, and I've apologized for those jokes. Do you think you can add to the podcast about confidence? Because I think you're very correct. You know, the whole thing about yes men and surrounding yourself with the right people. I think that's really important.
Um, knowing what you are confident in, like as you say, fake it until you make it.
Yeah,
True, but also don't don't act like you always know. Like it's okay to say I don't know, ask for help.
yeah,
Um,
I think that's fair.
like know your limitations as well as your confidence levels.
Yeah, I think that's a good sign as you as a person if you can ask for help and things. Like if you don't know everything, it is okay to not know everything. Like if I
And the
ask
same
you
way with
to
yeah,
read me word for word, William Shakespeare's Macbeth, I don't expect that because that there is not feasible.
no,
But if you ask me for help on how to do something related to my course, or you ask me for help for something like that, that is something I can ask you. I'm not going to ridicule on, and it's okay
yeah,
to not have confidence in areas where it's not reasonable. For guys out there who don't have any idea of how women work, talk to a woman.
yeah,
I know that sounds a lot. Oh, just talk to a woman. What's the worst she can do? All those guys who are sitting listening to this and going, "How do I get a date? How do I, get this person that I like to go on a date with me?" Ask. Don't sit and stalk. Don't sit and be creepy. You know, go up to that person and ask them, "Will you go on a date with me?" It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to get a bit choked up. And hell, every person I've ever asked out has not laughed in my face when I've asked them out. And every person I've ever asked out hasn't said yes either. I have been told no multiple times. Rejection is quite healthy, in fact. Get your ego down to a certain level that's acceptable. But I haven't, went after being rejected. This is ridiculous. I'm never asking another woman. I've been quite normal. I've went, okay, this is what's happened. This is how I'm going to change it. Okay, this is what we're going to do. It's as long as you can get over your falls, as I've said. And if there's anyone out there who this is going out in Valentine's Day, so this is quite topical. If you want a date with someone, ask them. Ask that guy that you want to go out with on a date. Ask that girl that you want to go out with on a date. If there's anyone in this audience that happens to be, LGBTQ plus, if you're gay, you're bi, you're trans, you're lesbian, ask that person out. I know it might be hard, but as I said, the least I can say is no. If you're a guy and you fancy a guy and you don't know if he's gay or you don't know if he's bi, ask him. Say that you're interested in him. Because the worst that person can do is say no. If that person goes further than saying no, then they're a dick and they aren't good enough for you anyway.
yeah,
And that's the important thing to know. It doesn't matter what you are or who you are. As long as you have that basic belief that nothing's going to really go bad if you ask out the girl of your dreams for a date, the worst you could say is no. That's not the
yeah.
end of the
It's,
world. There's
it's how you
plenty
take
of
them though.
there's a plenty of other people in the world that will say yes to you.
Yeah,
And just to round this off, because this is Valentine's Day, for anyone out there that does worry about their chances, if there is a 1% chance that someone in the world likes you, or a 0.1% chance that someone in the world likes you, or a 0.001% chance, or however low that percent is, that's still a lot of people. If 1% of the world's population were attracted to you, there's 8 billion people on this planet. Do you know how many do you know how many people that is that would be attracted to you? 80 million.
like
80 million people would be attracted to you if 1% of the population liked you. So when you put the context like that there, You're a lot more attractive than what you really perceive yourself to be, and you should be confident in your abilities to do whatever you want to be. Be excellent to yourself and to other people.
Good old Bill and Ted.
Good old Bill and Ted.